The train, for its type, is the most powerful vehicle on land. And the engines of Sodor are the power behind the docks, industries and branch lines that make up the world-renowned Northwestern Railway. These are the stories of Sodor. When the Cuthbert Railway offered its services to the Royalty Trekking Travel Group, no one could have predicted the impact it would have on the island. Among those to visit Devil's Back that day was a reporter from a popular magazine who wrote a glowing review about her experience. This led to an unexpected spike in tourism. Not only did Sodor's shops report record trading, its historic sites received a boost in visits, as the aforementioned article included a recount of the legend of King Godred. The bulk of tourists flocked to Peel Godred itself. While good news for the town, it was somewhat unwelcome by its branch line. Another thing I didn't mention about the Peel Godred Branch is just how busy it had been since it first opened. Aside from its iron ore mine and neighbouring steel mill, the line boasted a sizable manufacturing facility that produced high-quality fashion items. The abundant goods work, coupled with regular passenger services, ensured its engines were kept very busy. However, BR's ongoing track renewal program and the rise in tourism meant Arthur, Paul, Samson and Hurricane threatened to be overwhelmed. For a time, the rest of us were able to help, but this had to stop as it was affecting our performance elsewhere. The Fat Controller knew another engine was needed for the branch and promised to get one. Amazingly, his request to head office was approved in record time, and when the chap arrived at Kildane, in more ways than one, he came as a surprise.
G'day mate, how's it going? Good. Then how come you look like a stunned mullet, eh? How come you look so shocked? Oh, I guess because I am. I mean, we knew you were coming, but we didn't know that I was an Aussie? Yeah, I get that a lot. How does that happen? Is BR so short on engines they have to outsource? Nah mate, I was part of an international relief force sent to Europe after the war. You know, to help with reconstruction. I worked across the continent a few years before coming over here. Been knocking about the place ever since. I'm surprised I hadn't heard about that. I'd have thought for sure a foreign engine operating in Britain would be better known. There was a bit of fanfare at the start, but that soon died off. Which suits me fine. I've never really liked the spotlight. All I want to do is work. That's good because there's plenty to do around here. I can see that. Sorry to ask, mate, but can you take so many coaches all by yourself? No. I was waiting for one of my colleagues to arrive so we could double head, but he's been delayed. If you could take over for him, of course I can. Tops. Couple up and we'll get going. Oi, wee lad! How you hip from me line? Can't you understand English? That was English? Yes, Hurricane. I was telling the boy to clear off. Allow me. Oi, Dennis! Now I've told you before this isn't a playground. It's very dangerous for you to be running about the yard all willy-nilly. If it happens again, I'll tell your grandfather. Do you want that? No? Then be a good lad and toddle off. Okay. You see? Nothing to it. Aye, good job. Though threatening to tell his grandfather? That's just cruel. Oh, Globbits, he'd never hurt the boy. Just give him a stern talking to. Maybe we shouldn't wait to have a word with him then. No, I said I would only if he came around again, and that's what I'm going to do. Or is it not do? Or is it to not do? Stop overthinking, Hurricane. I hate it when you do that. Struth, mate. You sound as mad as a cut snake, eh? You sound real angry. Oh, no, not angry. Hang about. Who are you? I'm Cuthbert, your new engine. Who are you? This is Paul and Hurricane. Oh, sorry, Arthur. Didn't see you back there. Aye, our new mucker's got size and strength to match. It was child's play bringing up the afternoon flyer. Good job. Cheers, mate, and thanks for showing me the branch. It's a ripper. Eh? Excellent. It's excellent. Sorry, Aussie slang. I use a lot of it out of habit. I'll stop if it gets annoying. The only thing that annoys us is being idle, and we've done too much of that already. You better fetch your next train, Hurricane. It's over there at the platform. No, it's right behind me. A stopping goods to Barrow. What? That wasn't on the schedule. Well, it was on someone's schedule, and it says I have to go right now. Nice meeting you, Cuthbert. Welcome to the branch. Thanks, mate. Bother! Someone's got to take that train. Arthur, I have to pick up a load from the steel mill. I can take it. Are you sure? It has to go to Knapford Harbour on the other side of the island. Even better, it'll give me a chance to check out the place. I like your gumption. All right, it's yours, Ripper. Shot them? No, he shot at them. A single round over their heads to frighten them off. And it worked. Did he get a good look at them? Not really, but you can be sure the police were keenly interested. They held us up at Lower Knapford taking his statement. However, according to him, they seemed more concerned by his gun. Why was he even armed? Was there cash on your train? I suspect so. Those cads wouldn't have tried to rob it otherwise. But in this case, he was mugged last month and he feels safer carrying a weapon. That was lucky. I mean, very, very lucky. You're right. It didn't take much to make me stop. And had my guard not been armed, they may well have broken into the vans and made off with their loot. It'd be terrifyingly simple to rob a post train when you think about it. It's an absolute miracle no one has ever tried before. This'll cause a stir for sure. Maybe they'll start putting actual security on these runs. Yes, quite. I'd be interested to know the reaction of the would-be thieves. Doubtless they were thrilled by the prospect of being the first to pull off such a daring heist. They must be seething in disappointment. Let's hope so. I'd love to be a fly on the wall of that conversation. I can imagine it went one of two ways. Alright, we cocked that up, but I have the perfect solution. Let's rob a bank. Or, that phase of our highly skilled operation went awry, so we'll move to plan B. Let's rob a bank. Both scenarios sound utterly ludicrous, and yet that's exactly what happened. A week later, the bank at Brendan was broken into. About £20,000 worth of cash and other valuables were stolen. The police leapt into action, quickly locking down ports, airfields and stations. Just about every item and person leaving the island was searched. Naturally, this caused more than a few problems and even more delays. Days went by with no breaks in the case. Faced with growing pressure from the press and public, the authorities started looking for the loot in even more ridiculous places. This is ridiculous. Do they really expect to find the cash in a box of fish? They must, or they wouldn't be wasting their time. But I reckon they are anyway. How's that? Even the dumbest crook knows to always have an escape plan. They probably had some way of leaving the island, boat, plane, whatever, and likely use it that night. My view, they're long gone. That's pretty insightful. Australia was settled by convicts, you know. I dealt with some pretty rough blokes back home. It's enough to make you spew. Eh? Sick. Enough to make him sick. Oh, wait, how'd you know that? We met a lot of Aussies during the war. You couldn't help but pick up the lingo. Your chaps were a big help in Africa. So was your platoon. Our returning diggers couldn't stop going on about it. And all over Europe, people were talking about the wild Nor'westers. What exactly did you do during Reconstruction? Delivered trainloads of steel, coal, food, and other things. I also helped rebuild track. But my favourite job was demolishing those horrible concentration camps. You did? Do you remember any of their names? You mean like Bulbrick? I know your platoon raided it. Yeah, that was one of mine. We tore it down to the foundations and turned it into a nature reserve. Last I heard, it was doing good. That's wonderful to hear. Truly wonderful. Thank you. Hey, after what you went through, you deserve some good news. And I want you to know I appreciate what you did. You blokes are my heroes. War criminals are your heroes? Shut your face, Sheffield. You can't deny it, so don't try. What do you want? I want to know what you're still doing here. Hasn't the weasel gotten your trains ready? I've told you to not call me that, snail. I will when you stop calling me that. Pretty accurate description. Hey, blunder from down under. No one's talking to you, and you're not going to shut me up. Our trains are ready and we decide to have a bit of a chat. So stop acting like a knocker, eh? You know what? I don't care. If you're good to go, then shove off. You first, Gid Pratt. I don't like this. Stop worrying. It'll be fine. Fine? The island's crawling with coppers. They're hauling people in for questioning. What if they pick us up? We tell them the truth. Once they see we know nothing, they'll boot us out and move on to the next scruff.
Don't go losing your nerve. We're so close. Not close enough. 2 more days, Joe. 2 more days and we're done. Think what you can do with that money. Your mum still needs her medicine, doesn't she? Yeah, she does. Okay, where and when? West of Kildane on the upline after the Kipper's gone through at 10:20. You'll have 15 minutes until the next train. Can you do it? Yeah, sure. I really hope this goes off like you think it will, Ed. I don't fancy going inside. It'll be fine. Trust me. Why is James taking the Kipper tonight and not you?
Because he lost a bet.
Over what?
Gordon and I were talking about the time we helped transport a battalion of Australian soldiers during the war. I don't know if you know, but Aussie troops are nicknamed diggers. James was adamant we were having him on. That sounds too ridiculous to be true, he said. Hence the wager. If I proved him wrong, he'd pull the Kipper for a week.
And you proved him wrong.
Thanks to Cuthbert. James saw him earlier today. He has my eternal gratitude. Oh dear.
What's wrong?
Whenever that owl hoots, a mist rolls in.
Come again?
Whenever that owl hoots, a mist rolls in. Haven't you heard that before?
You're not having me on, are you?
No word of a lie, I swear. It's never wrong.
I don't know.
Care to place a wager?
On second thoughts, I'll take your word for it. Looks like they're done loading your train. Mist or no mist, take care on the main line, Henry, especially in light of recent events.
I will. Night, Sam.
Night.
Blimey, this mist is thick.
This isn't mist, it's fog.
What's the difference?
Mist is water vapor that forms due to temperature inversion or changes in humidity. Fog is a cloud that reaches ground level. How in blazes do you know that? No idea. How do any of us know anything?
Whatever it is, it's going to wreak havoc with visibility. Sorry you have to go out in it, Cuthbert. She'll be right, Arthur. I volunteered for the job. Good news, you might not have to do it. What? Why? Dispatch is planning to cancel all remaining trains. They can't do that. Why not? Because this is an important delivery. It's just another load of fashion. I wouldn't call it essential. You'd be surprised. One time in Poland, I had to deliver a load of winter clothes to a village that had been cut off by snow. I was late getting there. By the time I did, nearly a third of the locals had frozen to death. That's awful. But with all due respect, this isn't the same thing. There's no snow, and the only clothes in those vans are the current season of haute couture. More stylish than practical. I know, I still feel a need to take it. Well, if you must, I guess you can. Dispatch hasn't said all trains are cancelled, and the police have cleared the train for departure. Thank you, Paul. If I didn't take it, I'd feel like a real galah. We really should get a translator for him.
Evening, Joe.
Jesus! Where'd you come from?
The mists of time.
Very funny. What are you doing here?
My job. I wouldn't be much of a fogman if I stayed indoors on a night like this. Now what are you doing here? A little late to be tinkering with the signals, don't you think? Not if they're on the blink. It was working fine until it started flashing like a Christmas tree, and I could have sworn it was green before. You're imagining things, Bailey. Now if you don't mind, you know, my grandson told me the strangest thing today. He was afraid to. Thought I'd be angry at him for playing somewhere he shouldn't, but he wanted to do the right thing. That boy's a menace, but he's got a good heart. How touching. Right, what do you care? Anyway, you ever heard a conversation between two men? Sounded like they were planning something with this signal at this time. And what do you know? I find you here. Who was the other bloke? Your mate Ed? Listen here, Grandad. If you know what's good for you, you'll keep your mouth shut. Say that again. What? Say that again. If you know what's... Evening, Henry. Evening, Jack. All right there? I am now. I caught this tosspot tinkering with the signal. Another attempted robbery? Pretty daft if it was. There's no one else about and I checked before coming up to him. Nice to see they put coppers on your train. Saves me looking for any. Officers, I'd like to report a crime. All right, step aside and I'll take your statement. You want to watch him and see if he's alive? That too. Come this way. No worries. Nice seeing you again, Henry. You too, Jack. Now that's a hard man. Aye.
That's a real shame. Joe and Ed never seem like the type to break the law. The good ones never do. You think they had something to do with the bank job?
I don't know. A good investigator never assumes. That's why we have interrogations.
You ought to give that job to old Bailey.
He's being questioned right now. He may be facing charges of assault.
That's ridiculous.
That's the law. We don't need vigilante justice. If Mr. Bailey suspected criminal activity, he should have informed the police.
The same police who looked inside a beehive for the cash.
That's right, Arthur.
What I meant was, oh, Samson, good morning. How are you?
Very confused. I just got back from Barrow.
Did you ask Sheffield why he's such a tosser?
Didn't get a chance to. He was talking to one of your colleagues, Joey. From the sound of it, one of our trains has gone missing.
How does a train go missing?
Wait, when you say one of our trains, I mean from this branch line. Specifically, the one Cuthbert took last night. Cuthbert? Is he a red engine with the letters WAGR on his tender?
Yes.
Where is he?
What?
Where is he?
How much do you think we'll get for this?
Enough to make the Queen blush.
Excellent. Great job. I can see why you come so highly recommended. When I heard about the bank, I thought you might be bringing us a bonus. Sorry to disappoint. I had nothing to do with that. I merely took advantage of the situation and got very, very lucky by the sound of it. You complaining?
No, just saying.
I guess that concludes our business. Thank you for your help, Mr. Cuba. Please call me Johnny.
When the rest of us learned Cuthbert's true identity and the crimes associated with it, we were absolutely shocked. It turns out Johnny Cuba was a notorious gangster linked to dozens of felonies all over the world. His modus operandi was to steal trains on behalf of black marketeers, mobsters, and mafias so they could resell the cargo. He was highly sought after by the criminal underworld for his success and his uncanny ability to escape. And escape he did. After robbing the Peel Godred Branch, or should I say Sodor, he completely disappeared. The authorities tried to find him, but it was no use. And, I'm sorry to say, that wouldn't be the last time we would see him. But that is a story for another day. Fortunately, I can end this one on a slightly better note. The two railwaymen sang like canaries. Joe explained he was tasked with sabotaging the signal to give Cuba time to make the drop, while Ed was the one who brokered the deal. He gave up the names of the men who hired him, allowing the police to round up the entire crew and retrieve the stolen property. The bank thieves were also arrested a month later. As Cuba suspected, they had fled Sodor the night of the robbery. They were found passed out drunk in a barn outside Barrow, surrounded by what little cash they hadn't spent. Each received a very long prison sentence. I often use this story to remind those who hear it that crime doesn't pay, but I don't really need to tell any of you this, do I?